the beat you made for No Tomorrow, that beat with the drums was crazy. It's like da, 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 da.
Okay, I'm gonna break that down. So, No Tomorrow. Okay, first of all, the influence to do that drum thing
Yeah,
with the dot 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 was from
yeah.
Pete Rock. Was from Pete Rock because Pete Rock used to have the beats boom boom da 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 doom doom da da boom ba da. He would throw in the little extra
Mm,
kicks to
yeah,
throw the beat off.
yeah.
That was his signature style
Mm,
during the early '90s. If you listen to all the beats that you know what's crazy? He didn't do that on Mecca and the Soul Brother or All Sold Out the EPs.
yeah.
He did that on all the beats he produced for people. Because at that
Huh,
time, everyone ended up having a beat from
right,
Pete Rock. Every
right.
rapper, that's what started a lot of the beef with him and CL Smooth.
Mm,
Is he was giving attention to all the people that were hiring him. And
right,
CL Smooth was like, bro, what about me?
right,
And Pete Rock was becoming a hot producer like Primo.
right.
And a lot of the beats that he gave to people that wasn't used on CL Smooth and P Rock and CL Smooth was where he would go da, boom 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 da, boom 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 da 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 da,
Yeah,
boom, like that. So
yeah.
I was influenced by that. I thought that was incredible. So that's why I do da 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 da. It starts off
It
like
was
that.
sick, dude. Yeah.
But check this out. I'm gonna tell you a couple more jewels because you brought it up. So I'm gonna give you some fucking jewels. So there's many ways to make beats and get drums.
Right,
You all different types of ways.
right.
That snare specifically is the snare from Return to Forever from a guy named Chick Corea, one of the legend in jazz. And it just happens to be one of his records, and it was such a unique snare that I made the whole beat around that snare. So I found a
That's
different
crazy.
kick from another record, and I
Yeah,
found a different hi hat from another. A lot of times people will use the record for the hi hat, kick, and snare from the
right.
same beat.
Yeah,
So you have to be very ambitious to go find just a snare, then just a kick, then
mm,
just a cymbal from three different records. That was something I would do, and that's something I occasionally still do because it creates a different sound. There's
yeah,
something different about when you don't use the same drum kit and
yeah,
cut it up. Because if you're using the same drum kit, then somebody can eventually use that same thing, which
yeah.
is whatever. Because I always flip my drums
DJ
to
Quick
be
talks about stuff like that, making your own unique sounds.
right, right. But yeah, but I'm not familiar with no disrespect to Quick. I'm not
Yeah.
really familiar with his production, so I know people revere him as
Oh
incredible,
yeah, in LA
but
or around here, yeah.
I'm not really familiar with his stuff. But basically that snare, because it's very, if people will find it, it's one of those snares you can find if Return to Forever, and and check this out, the music. This is wild. The music, na, na,
Yeah,
na,
that's
na,
oh
with the
man, it's so dope. Yeah.
that music is taken from the horror movie 1976, Bloodsucking Freaks. Basically, the sickest horror movie ever made, in my opinion, my favorite. And if you watch the movie, you can't take that break off the movie. I'll explain why. So you'll understand what a sick fucking record digger I am. I'm next level, bro. Not to toot my own horn, bro, but you brought up something that is needs to be told. I've mentioned it before, but like the fact that you mentioned that record really can showcase what a sick fuck I am on the production. If you watch the movie Bloodsucking Freaks, during that music playing, there's two black girls with afros, slaves, having their fingers chopped off while the midget is playing backgammon with the white slave master. And as they're playing backgammon, you can hear the backgammon going blah, 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 blah. So you can't get a clean version of that sample off the movie like any other person. So at the time, that record dropped 96. So that means around 95, I searched out the guy who made the soundtrack to Bloodsucking Freaks. And it was this Jewish guy named Michael Saul who got hired by Joel Reed, who made the movie, in 1976 to do the soundtrack and got paid like $300 or something, nothing crazy. And Michael Saul was kind of a classical guy, but he was experimenting with Moogs at the time. And so the whole soundtrack for Bloodsucking Freaks is like this evil classical Moog soundtrack. And he had the reels in his house, Michael, and I'm just a kid coming to his house. You don't even know me. I told him who I am, whatever, you know? And he's like, "You want the reels? You can have them. I'll give them to you." He gave me the original reels to Bloodsucking Freaks, the only copy of the fucking reels of the music. And I went to a studio and transferred these reels with 1970 reels. They were like
Wow.
not even 8 tracks. They were like real from the 70s. You couldn't play them. You needed to go to like a professional studio. So I went to some kind of studio and had it transferred to cassette tape at the time.
Wow.
Barely even CD was. I ended up putting it on CD later, but at this time, the first time, the transfer was to cassette tape, and I had that fucking break. It was like they were doing cues,
Yeah.
different parts in the movie. It was like cue one, take two, na 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 na. And it's playing it clean, and I used that for No Tomorrow, and No Tomorrow is my first beat on a 12-inch. Basically, the first thing of Necro on an official piece of vinyl
Oh wow.
was for
Okay.
nonfiction,
Okay.
hooked up by MC Serch. MC Serch was Searchlight, so it was under his name, like for a company or whatever. But it was my beat. I was the A side. I don't know. It was the A side. Did they make that other beat the A side, and did they make No Tomorrow the B side? Which is crazy, right? Because nobody isn't that crazy? Because nobody remembers that other beat. Doesn't get mentioned. And as a competitive guy at the
Yeah.
time, I was a little annoyed. I was like, "This fucking shit ain't fucking with my shit."
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I was probably like, "Why the fuck is this a B side?" But I have a feeling it's possible that they played me and made my shit the B side. But or here's how they did it. I don't think they did A and B side. They might have did it where it was one side is No Tomorrow. I don't know. But anyway, it doesn't make a difference. Point of the matter is that's the story. No
Yeah.
Tomorrow took a lot to make. That's a beat that when you listen to it
And
and
so
you know what I'm telling you,
yeah.
it's like, oh, you had to go find the guy who made the original soundtrack to get the music. It's not anywhere. It's like it's not on a record. It's not on vinyl.
Yeah,
That
there
shit
is
is
something
taken from.
about that beat that just like really
So think about it.
hits
There's
you. It's
no
like,
drum break with those drums. So there's no
yeah,
like actual record where you could find those drums because I constructed each piece from different records. And you can't find the music anywhere. So that beat is ultimately like a super obscure beat,
yeah,
technically.
yeah,
And let me tell you, that beat made me feel really good because back then, MC Serch, he was able to get it played. So a lot of
yeah.
people were playing that No Tomorrow was getting people that probably weren't even nonfiction fans. They were just doing it because Serch this is my new group. So that it would get play. And I'm hearing my shit. And every time I heard my shit on the radio, it was like a high. It was, oh, wow. Because I knew it was hot.